whenever it decides. Oh, you know what is so funny? I love this morning. Good morning, everybody, or afternoon, wherever you're watching. The funny thing is that I'm playing with all the buttons, and I had the intro ready to go, and it said as soon as I pressed live, it would go. But technology is failing me this morning, and I'm okay with that. Thank you guys so much wherever you are joining. My name is Melody McAllister, and we're talking about the ASTE Summer Learning Series provided by Tech and their PD platform, Otis for Educators. And I have some wonderful guests with me today. I have Julia Renfro, Caroline Westervelt, and Carrie Morrison joining me, from all over the United States and Alaska. So, ladies, I'm going to let you introduce yourselves, and then we're going to do what we do every time that we meet for our ASTE Community Connect and give some educator shout outs. All right. So, Julia, if you want to introduce yourself really quick.
Hello, I am Julia Renfro. I work for the Alaska Commission on Post-Secondary Education, ACPE, here in Alaska. I manage the Alaska Career Information System, or AKCIS, and this is the reinvention of the reinvention of the reinvention of Julia. Been a military dependent my entire life, gotten to live all kinds of places. Got to work all kinds of places. But before I came into this position, I was career services at the collegiate level. And so, resumes sound like a really fun Saturday night to me. Not everybody feels that way, but that makes them want to hang out with me more because they usually, if they need their resume done, it's going to be me. We talked earlier about, are we good to just talk? And I was vaccinated by a phonograph needle. So I'm always ready for that. And I figured out how to get paid and work in career services at the same time. So I do run the Alaska Career Information System.
Wait, okay, wait. I just want to make sure that I heard this properly. You were vaccinated with a phonograph by like, that's like a record play needle, right? Like,
correct. Correct. I was not alive when they were the main form of music. No. But in my family, we are a plethora of talkers, and we just say that we were vaccinated by phonograph needles. We are just ready to go.
That's
Whatever's
awesome.
happening.
And
you just put the needle down, we're going.
That's awesome. Seriously, I've never heard that before, but that's great. I want to say hey to Dr. Rochelle Dene-Poe. Thank you for saying hi and joining us today. We love when people are joining us. All right, next person who wants to introduce themselves. And yeah.
I can go if you'd like. So my name's Carrie Morrison. I'm a district and school growth manager for code.org. And I am actually located in northern Idaho, if you're familiar with the Coeur d'Alene area. That's where I've lived my whole life. I actually just visited Alaska for the very first time earlier this year, back to back, went to the RTI MTSS conference. And then I came back about 3 weeks later for the ASTE conference, where I got to connect with Melody and meet some really wonderful people and experience Alaska in the winter because
why not?
When I do it backwards, everybody who goes to Alaska, if they're from here, where I'm at, they go to Alaska in the summer, usually to go fishing or whatever.
It's true.
I did it completely backwards, but that's okay. And so I've been kind of in the ed tech realm for some time now. I sort of got my feet wet in it when I was department manager for the University of Idaho's computer science department in Coeur d'Alene. And so I got introduced to it at the higher ed level. And I've been doing a lot of outreach work and connections with teachers and just educators all across the spectrum ever since then, and just trying to engage students in opportunities for themselves, whether it's K-12, computer science, AI education, and then all the way up to those career pathways. So that's work that I'm really excited about. I've learned a lot since kind of being in the sphere over the last few years, and I'm just, always trying to learn about new things that are happening. There's a lot of new things happening right now, especially in the realm of AI. That's on everyone's mind, it seems, these days. And so, it'll be exciting to see all of the things that are going to be happening over the next couple of years with that. But I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and I'm so glad that you did come in February. And actually, you came at a time where it was very mild. There was very little snow on the ground. And
That's true.
well,
It was windy. It was windy. I remember trying to go for a coffee down the street and just kind of hunkering down against the 40-mile-an-hour.
it was very windy. And Alaskans, we didn't like that. We wanted the snow. We didn't necessarily want the record-breaking snow that we've had in the last few years every winter. But we didn't get to do a lot. But for people visiting during the winter who've never been here, it was kind. You were at a kinder time than we've ever seen, to be honest. But we're so glad that you're here, Carrie. And we're excited. And I'm excited to talk more about your session because it's a little bit different than others. So yeah, can't wait to get into that. And our last guest who's here with us today is Caroline. Caroline, tell us a little bit about you.
Hi, I am Caroline Westerveld. I'm coming to you guys from Florida, from Stewart, Florida. So it's actually at the other extreme here. It's about 95 right now, and it's getting too hot.
Wow.
I started my career, I started in hotel restaurant administration. And when I was in my 30s, went, oh, you know what? The hours are awful. Teaching will be much better. So I know. So I decided to go to school. I was certified in business and consumer science, and then I got a work-based learning certification. And finally, the last 10 or so years of my career, I was certified in computer science. So I loved it. I wish I had known when I was younger how much I really, really loved coding. So I used Mad Learn in my classroom, and when I was decided to retire from teaching, spoke with Mad Learn, and I was brought on as a curriculum and development, instruction developer. And actually, I just got back from Texas. We do coding camps, but for our platform, students learn how to create an app using our 6-step design thinking process. So I'm really excited about the session, so everybody will see how it works. So, and thank you for having me today.
Oh yeah, I'm so glad that you're here. I'm glad all of you are here. And it's funny, your humor, the teacher hours. Yesterday, I posted a meme in our ASTE community, and it was like, "Don't worry, teachers. Only the first 30 years of teaching are the hardest."
But you have summers off.
Yeah, summer's off. All right, well, let's get into it. The first thing that we love to do on our ASTE educator or ASTE live streams is give our educator shout outs. And this can be to any teacher that you've been working with or you've seen do a fabulous job. I like to go first. I want to give a big shout out to Diamond High School assistant principal Rebecca Hayden, who was also one of my dearest friends. Today is her birthday, and she doesn't look a day over 40. And she's okay if I said her day. She is gorgeous and beautiful, and one of my dearest friends. I want to give her a shout out. She does amazing work in her learning community. And I also want to give a shout out to Nicole Crosby and Katie Bacher. Yesterday, I've been at Highland Academy for the last week, and I'll be there again for the last week, working really closely with them. And I just talk about chaos in poetry. That's not really a thing, right? But it's like poetry and chaos. It's something like that. Watching students be engaged for the last 2 weeks of school and learn things. I am guilty of sticking in a video and, cleaning, tearing everything off my walls. But I'll tell you, at Highland Academy, they are still going strong and learning. And it is such a wonderful thing to be a part of. My own child who goes there is having a ball. Oh my gosh. And her favorite teacher, Danelle Spall, I want to give a shout out to you as well. But yeah, so those are my shout outs. Go ahead. Just take the floor if you want to go.
Well, I think that I would have to go. I got a couple. Golly, I got a bunch. But you know what? Delta Junction, the team at Delta Junction in their secondary school, their commitment to creating and fostering futures for students in their enroll, employ, enlist. That's how they kind of make sure all the students are celebrated. They've got a big wall where they've got enroll, employ, enlist. What is their post-secondary future going to look like? And they bring careers into all the classrooms, the core classrooms. It's not left to the counselor. It's not left to the CTE teacher. They're working on it for sure. But all the core classes are working on it as well. And so they actually really, truly differentiate the students' homework, projects, lessons based on the career clusters they're interested in. Can they change their minds next week? Sure they can. So their homework changes a little bit, but they still get the core concept. And then how would they use it in that world, in that career cluster world? So I dig that they're doing that. And of course, because they're one of the first ones to really, really dig in deep and make it systemic, everybody wants them to present at their conferences. And so I always want them to present. I like to see them out there doing that. So
shout out to Delta Junction.
Yay, Delta Junction.
Yeah. I'd love to be a part of that too, especially if I were still in school. That's great. Awesome.
They say, if you tell me, I keep it this long. If you show me, I keep it this long. If you let me do it, I keep it this long. And, when you engage with me in it, I'm going to keep it so much longer. And just imagine how much each of those educators are sticking in those students' lives, right?
Right. And I think one of the things that our secondary students especially want to know is, how is this applying to my life? Like school going as normal or as usual, status quo, like it's just not cutting it anymore. So if you really want your secondary students to be a part of something, they have to understand, they want to know, like, how is this going to be a part of my real life? And you can't BS that. So yeah, I love it. Good, great work, Delta Junction teachers. You rock.
I have a couple teachers I'd like to shout out to. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. First, I've got Victoria McNaughton, who teaches at Manor Plains. It's an alternative high school in New York. Her students, she pushes her students to just always do more than they think they can do. And the results are amazing. She's one of the few high school teachers I've seen. She has them working with Gantt charts for project management. She's got them having meetings every morning, and she really tries to, bring the work experience into the classroom, and she does an amazing job. Another group of teachers I'd like to recognize is actually to shout out is Westminster School in Georgia. That's Julia Myrick, Caroline Bonin-Bear, and Elizabeth Hauser. They work with younger students, and the learning experience for the younger students, even though the students aren't doing maybe the coding on their app, they're contributing to the content in such a way. They created an alphabet app to teach incoming students, to get them a head start on the sounds and the letters. So the students did little videos like with the at sound, and they put cat on there. So they had kids with cards, and they had a little game. They created a sign language game to teach sign language with little flashcards. I mean, unbelievable stuff. And again, working right up until the very end of the school year. So I'd like to shout out to those two groups, to Victoria and to the Westminster group. Really phenomenal stuff.
Sounds phenomenal. I love it. Kudos to all of them.
Well, there's so many teachers I have to shout out. I have to start with, I will start with my son's teacher, Mrs. Hogue. Her name's Ashley Hogue. And she's my son's second grade teacher. And she has just done such a great job with him this year. So I have to give her a shout out, because I just got my son's iStation results for the very end of the year for reading. And he's like in the 98th, 99th percentile for everything.
Yay!
So comparing that to a year ago, I was like, okay, this kid's really going to be maybe a math kid reading. All right, we'll see. It might be a little bit of a struggle. Might have to do some extra stuff here. But no, I mean, this whole year, it's just completely turned around. And so his where he's at with his reading levels right now is just outstanding. I'm just so proud of him. And I'm so grateful to the teachers at Greens Ferry Elementary in Post Falls, Idaho. I have to give them a shout out. Just a phenomenal group of people. And I'm just very grateful to all of them. So I really have to give them kudos for all of their hard work. They really are an amazing bunch of people. And there's so many other teachers too in my line of work, working at code.org. I have to shout out Cheryl McClure in Bellevue, Washington. She's just doing some phenomenal work for that school district. She was in Amazon Future Engineers' first ever cohort of teacher ambassadors. And she's just doing some great things in that district and really trying to get the word out about computer science just across the board. So I have to give her kudos for that. Another Idaho teacher that I'm so grateful for is Janelle Arvis. She's in Pocatello, Chubbuck in the southeastern part of my home state. Have to give her a shout out for becoming a facilitator for us. She's now leading workshops for code.org. Again, kind of at that K through 8 level, but just trying to, make access to computer science and artificial intelligence education more readily available to students across that district. Gosh, there's so many other teachers. Right. I could sit here for half an hour.
It's like winning an Academy Award. I'd like to thank this person.
It is, yes. Yes, and it's so hard. I expect the violins to start playing and the music to come on to play me off the stage. But yeah, there's so many wonderful people out there that are just doing truly amazing work. And I get to see it. I'm so fortunate. I get to see it across 15 states because that is my region, including Alaska. So I get to see it all over the place. I get to see it in all different forms too, and all the creative ways that people are doing things. So feel
yes, for you guys to like remember, you guys do work all over the place, all three of you. So to remember specific teachers, like that means that they're doing incredible work and really just shining. And not every teacher wins Teacher of the Year. So being noticed at all, I feel like is important. Something that you said, Carrie, about your son, just watching the growth. I mean, the same feeling with my daughter, honestly. One of my daughters, I have 3 daughters, and 2 boys, but one of them, just her math. I think it was her math that grew tremendously this year. Actually, 2 of my middle daughters, both of their math. And it really was a reflection of what the teachers did to help them grow. And yes, we talk about data. Sometimes data can feel like our worst enemy. And sometimes it can just be the boost that we need because we're like when you have a child who struggles or even if you've been a child who struggled, academically, there are times where you feel so hopeless. It really does matter, that teacher relationship and what the teacher does. And so for everybody who is watching, whether you're, watching live or afterwards, just being an educator means so much. Even if you're watching, you're a teacher's aide, you're a substitute teacher. I sub a lot. Believe me, when students come up and tell me you're one of my favorite teachers, I don't say, well, I'm just a sub or anything. I'm like, because I feel like going into schools and pouring out what I know makes a difference. Like I love it that they can see me as an educator, regardless sub status or not, because kids need every single adult that they see to pour into them. So I love that so much. So thank you for joining us. We are actually going to be talking about the ASTE Summer Learning Series with Otis for Educators. Every single ASTE member, and I'll send out another email this week with all of the information. But if you're watching this, you just go to, and actually I put it in the comments, made it really easy. You're just going to go to this website right here. Wait, oops, wrong one. Okay. Scroll up. I was like, this is going to make it so much easier if I have it dropped in there. But actually, you're going to go to this link that I dropped in the comments. You're going to click on group sign up and then log in. Well, you're going to click on login and then go to group sign up, and you're going to use the code 77163A. And you can start immediately. Like, we're going to be talking about the ASTE Summer Learning Series that's going to start happening at the end of May and go through August. But as soon as you log into this, you can start signing up for any session that they already have, whether it's a session coming up that you want to be there live or whether it's in their library. There's a ton of wonderful sessions. Right now, I'm learning about esports. So that really just was like, whoo. So I'm like, yes. And this is a $99 thing that Tech is giving to all of our ASTE members that just goes along with their membership. So if you're saying, but I'm not a member and you want to be a part of this, you can join ASTE for the rest of this year. You'll be a member until the new and until February when we have our new conference. And you can definitely have this membership value as well. We hope that you'll join us, even if you're living in Idaho. We hope that you'll join us. In fact, one of our members is in North Dakota. Another one is in Hawaii. Like, it's okay. Even if you're watching this and you want to be a part of ASTE, we welcome you. So yeah, let's talk about your sessions. Oh, wait, yes. Julia, did you want to say something?
No, I'm saying, come on, join us.
Yes. Join us. I love that. And we're just going to go kind of in order of who is going first. And Caroline, that is you. You are with Mad Learn, who is one of our sponsors this year. Tell us about one of yours, or tell us about both of your sessions. You're actually going to be kicking off the biggest part of our ASTE summer learning series. So yeah, tell us about your sessions.
All righty. So MAD stands for Mobile App Development, and Mad Learn, for those of you that are wondering what it is, it's just a way that students can bring their ideas to life by creating a mobile app. Students are known to be consumers of technology. We want them to be creators of technology. So on our platform, they can actually build an interactive app that is solves a real life problem. They can interact with it on their device. So we've got 2 sessions. Our first session is, I'll start with Don't Worry, Be Appy. And that's a crash course in creating a mobile app from start to finish. So you've got your ideate, plan, design, build, test, and launch phases, which we'll be going through. So you'll be able to see how that all works together and some different ways it can be used with students. The second session is Input Code, Output Mobile App. So this dives a little bit deeper. Our platform is scaffolded, so students don't have to know how to code in order to use it. But we do have it, we call it our HCJ Builder, which is our HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And we have code sets that can be put in where the students can interact with the code and use it to add different elements to their apps. So the platform works, again, there are drag and drop elements, and then there are elements where you're actually typing in text-based code from scratch. So Input Code, Output Mobile App is going to give a little bit of a taste of that. To those teachers that are, maybe a little bit concerned about coding, it's a lot of fun. Trust me, it's a lot of fun. It's great. It's great. So
Caroline, for teachers who haven't really ventured into this yet, what do you feel like the number one fear is, or the number one, maybe it's not a fear. What is the number one reason why you feel like there are still some teachers that really haven't explored this part of education yet?
As far as
app development. Mm-hmm.
As far as app development, I think that with most things, first of all, teachers are short on time. So I think they're concerned that it's going to be difficult to implement. I think that they may it's never comfortable. I mean, I've been a teacher. It's never comfortable when you start a new program and you're standing in front of your class and your student says, but what about this? And you're like, so we've all been there.
Yes,
we've all been there. So I think there's concern with that. We really try to make that as minimal as possible. We do support the platform both, live through our success channel, but also with curriculum and also with materials that go with it. But it's really on the student. And that was something I learned when I started teaching computer science. It's okay to say, I don't know. It's okay to say, we'll figure this out together. It's a shift in a mindset, where you're in a classroom. Just because you say, I don't know, doesn't mean that you're not in charge of the room anymore. And I think that that's a little bit of a learning curve. But I will tell you that having worked in, I got kind of tossed into computer science, like, you have business classes. Oh, our teacher left, you're teaching computer science next year. Okay. So it is absolutely doable. If I can do it, I promise you that you can do it. So to bring app development in and to bring in this process, Medler makes it really easy for that to happen because the steps are embedded in the platform and the resources are there. It just makes it really easy.
I love that, Caroline. I want to go back to that. Just because you don't have the answers doesn't diminish who you are as a teacher. I love that you said that so much. And Mad Learn is for is it for only a certain age group? Is it K-12?
It works best grades. Students can use it independently 3 through 12. The Westminster group that I shouted out before actually uses it with kindergartners and first graders. It's a little bit more teacher-led, but the students are still involved in creating the content.
I love that. And so I kind of put it on you. I'm like, why do teachers not really get into this when it's so incredible? And no, no shade to them, because you answered it. I think that's, I've been that teacher that just did not want to implement something new for all of the reasons that you said. What have you seen is the greatest reward that comes from using Mad Learn?
So the fact that a student can, first of all, students love it because it allows them so many choices. And that doesn't mean you have to say, okay, you're free to do what you want, but you can give them structure, and you can give them, okay, I just got back, for example, from an app camp in Texas. And so I gave them, we called it an appathon. So they had to create an app in 3 hours from start to finish. So, I gave them choices. You can do A, B, C, or D. But once that was there, it was really on them to figure out where they wanted to go with it. And I was just kind of there to help them along. The greatest thing is that, you're allowing them to select what they want to do. So you're going to get more participation because it's something that they're interested in. You're not forcing them to do it a specific way. I always felt that way when I was teaching, even, with choice of how to present things. But they can determine, what kind of screens do they want to use? What they design the entire aesthetic of the app. What are my colors? What do I want it to look like? What am I trying to get across? What's my brand? And it just, they become really invested in their product. I mean, they want to see it succeed. They pitch it at the end. We teach them about, about the test phase where, it's not going to be perfect the first time, and that's okay. Learning how to accept constructive criticism and implement that to make a better product. So there's so many pieces of it that because they're involved and it's their decision-making, they're very invested. And I used it as a teacher with my students.
Yeah. I love that.
It really is amazing.
I love it.
I would think there's so many ideas that giving them, a few choices to start with helps bring it down. Because when I see something like that, that's like infinite, I'm like, I'm paralyzed because I could do anything.
Right.
Where in the world would I start?
Yep. And you really could say to them, you literally could say to the kids, if you had very, maybe older students that if you just said to them, go create an app about this, yeah, they could do it. But I just find if you can kind of give them a starting point, they'll run with it from there.
Right.
And the different ways they run with it, like the things that they come up with are amazing. Like I never thought of that. It's amazing.
I love it. And, anytime we give kids the choice to create, that's what's going to stay with them for the rest of their life. I think it was Brene Brown that was talking with Oprah, and she's like, whenever we don't allow ourselves to create, it like becomes metastasized in our body. Like we get angry and because we don't have that outlet. And I'm sure that is exactly the same for kids. Like they need that space and time to really create something that matters to them, and you're giving them the opportunity for that. And I just want to say before we go on to Carrie about her session is that Mad Learn is giving a school subscription to one of our ASTE members who shows up to the live. So yes, and there's two opportunities to show up, and so on the 3rd and on the 5th, and Caroline will have I think you have a co-presenter, and so you are increasing your chances to win that school subscription if you show up to their live presentations for the ASTE Summer Learning Series. So make sure that you join us on June 3rd and 5th. I try to make it easy. Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 Alaska time. Okay. So definitely. Okay. We got to move on. I love it. Caroline, I could tell that in the classroom, you did amazing things because you're still an amazing woman and educator. I love it. I feel like we need to have a show, ladies, all 4 of us. We need to do this regularly. You're so incredible. All right. Next, Carrie Morrison, tell us about your code.org music lab on July 15th.
Yes. Yeah. Super excited about this. So Music Lab is one of Code.org's newest offerings. So it's a standalone activity. We have kind of our main curriculum, but we developed Music Lab as sort of just a standalone activity that teachers can use. This is actually appropriate for grades 2 all the way through 12, which is awesome. And I just want to mention to you that everything that we offer at Code.org is free. All you have to do as a teacher is just create an account. So that's always really nice to have these activities and just things that you can dig into that are for free.
Isn't that like your favorite size, flavor, and color is free?
I know, that's the truth. It's so much easier to talk to people about free resources,
Yes.
especially since a lot of schools and districts that I talk to just across the board are experiencing all sorts of different budget cuts and things like that right now, and really having to be very careful about where they allocate their resources and just so conscientious of what they choose to incorporate into their classroom. So Music Lab, I call it the intersection of creativity and technology. I hate this misperception that, especially among girls, that if you go a STEM route, it's just going to be void of creativity. And I love that, Caroline, you were just talking about creativity and options and how technology can stimulate creativity. Well, that's exactly what Music Lab does. So students have the opportunity to create songs, and they're coding their own songs. What I love about Music Lab is that our engineering team is a phenomenal team of people that have put so many different options in there. If students have music backgrounds, it's great. They can get really, really into the nitty gritty and get really creative with all of the different instrumentals and things that are built in. If they're younger students, like my son, I actually started him on Music Lab when it came out last year. So he was finishing up the first grade. We say 2nd through 12th, but honestly, if your kids are tech savvy, at 6 years old, they can get into it. And he was creating songs and he loved it. We have teamed up with Amazon Future Engineer to be able to offer this. We have worked with all sorts of different artists out there. We're talking pretty big name artists too, to be able to use their music as sort of a foundation for students to work off of, so they can pick pieces of these different artists' songs. Like Shakira, Aloe Black. There's like a whole bunch of them. Yeah, they can just pick pieces of these different songs. MC Hammer is a really popular one.
Yes! Right. Listen, I got my 80s earrings on. I love it.
One of our people internally actually created a whole song based off of the MC Hammer music, and it was amazing. We showcased that at ASTE last year, so it was a lot of fun. But anyway, I'll be doing a presentation on that. What's great about Music Lab is, again, like Caroline said before, I just want to emphasize that if you're a teacher and you have, a little bit of humility and you know that you're going to be learning along with your kids, and they're probably going to surpass you at some point. I mean, I saw that when we demoed Music Lab in a class last year. The middle schoolers, some of them were already figuring it out, and the teachers was like, okay, I'm just going to kind of step back here and just let you do your thing. What's nice about it is you can squeeze it into, those days where you kind of have those weird days where it's maybe towards the end of a semester or it's right before a break. And what do we do? Do I throw on a movie, or do I have kids do this activity that's really fun and is still educational? Yeah. Here you go. It's also project-based too. So you can actually make it into a student project and say, I want you to code a song. And you can do that, like I said, as young as 3rd and 4th graders. Say, okay, here's a little project for you guys to work on. You're going to code your own song. And it's just so amazing to see. We have pieces of these student songs that they've put together on the webpage. I'll drop it into the chat here so people know where to go. But it's just so cool to see what all these kids of all different ages are coming up with. And it's fun to see those creative juices stimulated by this. That's, I think, the best part of Music Lab for me.
Active versus passive, right?
Mm-hmm. I could also see it. I love it. I could also see it being like a great way to have an assessment where, students are like want to do, that don't dread or miss school for that testing day, and I love the project-based part of this, using it on a rainy day, using it at the end of the year right now. So wonderful. And guys, you get to learn at the ASTE Summer Learning Series. So if you don't want to be one of those teachers that feels clueless about this, you don't have to be. Although I will say, there's something about learning with your students, like going through a process for the first time, that it's not necessarily humbling, but it does, and maybe it is humbling, but it also reminds you of why learning is fun in the first place, and why some of the best learning is just happening. We can't control any of it. It's just so beautiful in itself. My name isn't Melody on on accident, like it is. That came out wrong. Actually, I didn't change my name to Melody, but I just want you to know that I love music and I fully support it. And this is really cool. I want to see the MC Hammer. I used to use the stop hammer time. I used to use that for grammar time. And every time I would just sing over him. I'd put the song on, I would say, stop, grammar time. Okay. I have 7th graders who can vouch for me on this. But yes, it sounds wonderful. I love it. And what did you say about going to the website for free?
Yeah. So all you have to do is set up an account. Teachers can set up their teacher account for free, and then you can access any of our curriculum. You can access all of it, all for free, which is so great. I love the fact that all of our resources are free for teachers. These standalone activities like Music Lab, we've got a whole bunch of stuff now that we're developing around AI because, of course, that's on the forefront of everyone's mind. But I'm focusing on Music Lab for this particular, for ASTE series this summer, just because I just love the idea of really engaging those students that teachers are finding they're having a tough time engaging and getting excited about computer science and coding. And sometimes even administrators feel like they're having a tough time getting their teachers interested in it too. I actually had, this is interesting, I'll share this with you real quick. I had a teacher at an Idaho conference come up to me just before we launched Music Lab, like 2 months before, and he was a music teacher. He was like, I really wish that there was something around like music that I could offer my students. And I just said, just give me like 2 months, just give me like 2 months. And then 2 months later, we launched Music Lab, and I was able to follow up with him and send him. And I was like, here you go. Like, now you have something that you can offer your students in addition to what you're already teaching them in music class, because this is cross-curricular. I love all of the cross-curricular offerings that we have and that we're coming out with. Like, that to me is exciting.
It is exciting. Oh my gosh. And I want to say that our music teachers and our my brain's, what are the elective type of teachers, that teach electives, they don't always feel welcome at our tech conferences because they often feel like what they teach is not reflected. And so you bring this, and thanks for being a partner with ASTE. We really appreciate it. We love code.org. And I was feeling like Oprah for a second. You get it free, and you get it free, and you get it free. So yes, check this out today. I'm definitely going to check it out. And thank you so much, Carrie. All right. I apologize for that. Julia, listen, you've been patient, my friend, especially for somebody who got vaccinated by a record needle or a phonograph needle, whatever. Like, you're amazing. And you're kind of tying up the end of our ASTE Summer Learning Series. Tell us about your session.
Yeah, so right before school starts. What? No, we're in summer. We're in summer. We're in summer. Don't get ahead of myself, right? But right before school starts, we are going to come together and we're going to talk about the future is now, right? It's not down there, right? Our students are now. Our students are that future, right? And AI. We have somebody who does institutional authorization, so sometimes I put those letters in the wrong order. AI and AKCIS in student career development. So AKCIS, we talk a little bit about that first. That's the Alaska Career Information System. It is free to everyone in the state of Alaska. CIS is national, and next year will be 55 years old.
Happy birthday.
We've been doing this a hot minute. And so we know that holistic career counseling, career development, career exploration approach. Some of us do that without, writing things down and that kind of thing. But we have gone from, and this is like the perfect time to do this. I have the original system right here where you use punch cards.
Wow.
Punch cards, and the little key to wiggle out the things that didn't match what you were interested in. And so we've come from that to we are online, and we've got a brand new version of AKCIS called AKCIS 360. So much more intuitive. The user experience, I get nothing but compliments on it all of the time. But we've got everything in there. We're answering the 3 questions. Who am I? Where am I going? And how do I get there? And so we use a lot of self-surveys in order to figure out who am I. And sometimes, when students are asking or answering how much they like or don't like, yes, it is important to know what you don't like, just as it is important to know what you do like, about everyday kind of activities. And then they get the results and they're like, I didn't even think about that. Like that is me. And we don't take just one, we take a couple because we want a well-rounded picture of our students, right? That's going to take them into their career clusters, their careers. It's going to take them into where do I find this? What kind of work-based learning experiences can I have? They can track those in AKCIS as well. So all by itself, AKCIS is a lot of information. It is, like Carrie brought up, cross-curricular. I don't let core teachers get past me. I'm like, oh, I see you. I got stuff for you. Don't go anywhere. I got things for you. But since, gosh, it was a couple of years ago, we got into a big round group discussion up on the 10th floor at the Captain Cook and at ASTE, and we're having a conversation about AI. And I was like, how does this work with career development? Like, I am on this. What are we going to do? How's this going to look? How's it going to be safe for students? And so I feel like I'm on that edge of like, what are we going to do? And I'm not talking just chatbots. Yeah, somebody can make a chatbot. That's great. That could be something that they're doing in mad.learn. That could be one of their apps that they're doing. I'm always interested in hearing about those kinds of things. That could be something that they're learning in code. But I want to take that farther. I'm always interested in how do I make it easier for teachers, because a lot of times things like career development get sent to the counselor who's got a million things on their plate. And unfortunately, they don't get to do the fun part of their job, which is the career exploration and development part, as often as they have to do the immediate and on fire part of their job. And CTE teachers are kind of doing it all the time anyways. It's kind of funny when CTE teachers get in and they pretend like they're students in AKCIS and they take a self-survey. They're like, education came out at the bottom of my list. I shouldn't have gone into education. And I'm like, no. You liked what you did so much. It's at the top of your list, right? Your industry is at the top of the list. And they're like, well, yeah. And you liked it so much that you wanted to come back and share it with students. So education is not at the top of your list, but you are sharing that out. And so it just comes out. Their work-based learning experiences, they just come out and what they're doing exudes. Teachers in core classes is a little bit different. And the need for core teachers to be involved in career development and exploration is going to be even greater going forward because careers are changing exponentially.
Oh my gosh.
They already have been, but now we got a lot more AI happening. And it's not that AI is going to replace jobs, but people who know how to use AI are going to replace somebody who doesn't know how to use AI. And so we've got to have effective thinking, questioning, that kind of thing. But also there's a brand new modernized career cluster framework that has been released as of this last fall. And AKCIS will include that coming this new school year. So
Wow.
we'll be rolling that out at the beginning of the school year as well. But STEM has been a career cluster. There is no STEM industry, is there? Because STEM is everywhere. Right? So STEM is just going to be absorbed into all of the rest of the career clusters, which is where it should be anyways. And so we've got that kind of thing going on. So now how do we bring in AI to this? So in this session that we're going to have on August 7th, the future is now AI and AKCIS, we are going to look at large language model, the chat that kind of stuff. We're going to look at Canva, and you can get your special Canva for education, AI translation. In Alaska, we've got, I believe, 22 native languages in Alaska, and those are not prevalent, right? You're not going to find those in a lot of translation pieces, but you can use AI to translate into those languages. Or we also have the most diverse school district in the United States in Anchorage.
Yeah, we do. It's Betty Davis East High School.
Yes.
Yes.
And my office is next door to them. So how are you going to speak to families? What are you going to
Mhm.
say to families? How are you going to get that information to them? So anything from translating information to families to students, maybe designing their job of the future. Like
Yeah.
you know, did you know that snail wrangler is actually a job? It is already a job. Yeah, we were goofing around, and then we found out it was a real thing. Um, critiquing somebody's communication style, so language arts teachers could get involved in this. Um, you know, uh, building up, boosting resume entries, those kinds of things. We don't want to take anything straight from AI because that's a form of plagiarism, right? We
Mhm.
want to be critical about what we're thinking about. We also know that there are some pitfalls like bias and those kinds of things that pop in as well.
Yeah.
We want to be protective of student information. So if they are putting a resume in, we want to make sure that they are not putting their contact information, they're not putting their actual name, because that becomes searchable
Right.
later on. So we have those things. So in this session, we're going to talk about what are those things we do to protect students, but what are some activities that we can do just to enhance. So if a student had, certain amount of self-survey results, they could put in a prompt into a large language model and say, based on these attributes, these results I received, and because I want to do work in this kind of thing, what kind of jobs, and so I have some sample prompts that I'll be sharing during that time. And students, of course, can tweak that and they can continue to have that conversation going forward. So maybe it's not a dedicated chatbot for that reason, but the students can put that in. Maybe it's Notebook LM and they've got a space and for career development and they're talking. We saw some examples at ASTE. I'm sorry, I can't think of her name, but she's been in other podcasts with you. She I would love to say her name right now, but I'd have
Me
to get
too. I'm
into
sorry.
my
I'm trying to think. Is
I'd
it
have to get into my
Alexis?
I'd have
It's
to get
not
into my Google
Jaditsa.
Doc.
Is it Jaditsa Vijalba?
Names used to be my number one thing, and
It's
now
not. Listen, if you're at the age, if in my age now, I can't remember any nouns. So
you see some Arctic blonde going on here. So
was she?
um,
Was she a speaker the previous year, not this past year?
she
Jaditsa.
was a speaker this year.
Okay.
Blonde.
Oh, Holly Clark. Of course, Holly Clark.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so she had us, in spaces where we were like talking to presidents and we were doing this kind of thing and that kind of thing. So students, could talk to somebody who's working in that field or who has done that kind of field through an AI feature, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's lots of different kinds of examples. I even went so far as to find out what would Cinderella's career path be to podiatry.
Oh wow.
So, coming from an Alaska Native village, and what was her post-secondary, what was her work-based learning activities, and what kind of internships did she have? What kind of scholarships did she look for? What kind of interactions did she have with her teachers and counselors? And then what did she do when she came back and she took care of everybody in her village, right? The elders and everyone. So. It could be very creative like that. They could be
Yeah.
creating their own social content. They could be entrepreneurs.
Right.
Entrepreneurship is growing leaps and bounds. That is something that we can see in AKCIS. Like if I asked you guys, what job is entrepreneurship, you would give me a very small list. Together, we cumulatively would come up with a very small list. But if we logged into AKCIS and we looked at how many jobs are self-employed,
Right.
it's way more extensive than we even could
Right.
imagine right now. So AKCIS is free. It is sponsored by ACPE for everyone in the state of Alaska. My very small niche of people that I work with, very small niche, is third grade through retirement. So there is a version that keeps growing up. AKCIS Junior is typically 8th grade and under. That grows up into high school, which grows up into post-secondary and adult workforce. Yes, they could go straight from secondary to adult workforce, but I work for the Alaska Commission on Post-Secondary Education, and I would be remiss if I left that piece off. We do have the military careers and occupations and how those relate back to civilian life. I'm very protective of that. I told you in my introduction, I've been a military dependent my whole life. So I don't want people thinking, join the military and travel the world for free, because that is not how it happens. So I
Right.
don't want anybody told that. But that is for sure a viable post-secondary path. And kind of being able to have a system like AKCIS talk to families even about what
Right.
does that look like, helps calm the nerves and that kind of stuff if they haven't been a military family in the past. But I just want to make things easy for students and teachers. Single sign-on is in just about every school and district in
Nice.
Alaska for AKCIS. There's about 1% of Alaska's students or high school seniors, oddly enough, it's 1% of each of them, who don't have single sign-on in AKCIS. So
No,
they
maybe
can
we
just
can
get
them.
right in. Just because
Yeah.
they know how to get into the computer, they can get into AKCIS. So I did want to, I know you've been putting some messages out there for me, but I did add one there. So if they want to contact me for more information,
Yes.
they certainly can. Renewals will start for site locations, will start the 1st of July. So if you want to make sure everything is all good to go when school starts, be watching for those messages, letting me know you want to be on the list to know when renewals are available. But come to the session on the 7th of August.
Yeah.
I mean, how much better if it's the week before school starts in most places. And it'll be activities that you can just take right then.
Yeah.
No prep, like just take them and give them to the students and be ready to go. And
Yeah.
just learn with the students, and how your examples in the classroom will be shaped and molded because you found out more about your students and what their interests are for their future.
Ooh, I love that. That's an excellent point to make sure. Number one, contact Julia, screenshot this so that you can contact her. But yes, what an excellent way to set the foundation of your school year. And it like, I want to say congratulations to all the graduates, right? Right now, so many are graduating. So career education is really important to them. But even Julia, something that, I was thinking when you were speaking is like, from our kindergartners to when they graduate, the careers that are going to just come through that entire time are going to be completely different than what is today. So I just want to say thank you to all three of you. Like literally what you are doing is God's work. And I know that's a funny saying, but honestly, like you've nailed it when you come to social emotional learning. And I know that can have a kind of a connotation right now for some people that's not great, but honestly, we know that the feelings and the character development and belonging and feeling like you have hope for a future. Every single one of you are doing that in the work that you're bringing forth and sharing. Thank you so much for that. I love it. And Julia, setting that foundation for a year that is more meaningful for your students. I love that they can get that from your session, and I hope that you guys will sign up. That's why we're here today. We're talking about our sessions. I've had you guys for a long time, so I'm just gonna go through some more sessions that you can sign up for. There's going to be prizes we're giving away, including ASTE registration. Alice Keeler is going to be talking about, she's going to be sharing about living on a teacher's salary. Heather Bacon. Sorry. I'm sorry. Heather Baker. She was awarded she's a presidential winner this year. She's going to be talking about empowering students to build community through media creation. She's an Alaskan teacher. We're going to have an AI panel. We've been talking about AI. We're going to have teachers from Alaska and other educators from all over the place join an AI panel. I'm going to be moderating that. Our president, Anthony White, is also going to be on that. Make sure that you are part of these sessions, and also you can whether you can join them live or they'll be a part of your library. So that's another wonderful thing. Somebody in our community asked about that. Like, do we have to go to them live? No, you do not have to go to them live. You can do this when you're at the beach or on the mountains on your hike, as long as you've got some Wi-Fi. Is there anything that I'm not including that you guys want to put out there before we say goodbye?
Come see us.
Yes, definitely.
Come play with us. Come interact.
Yeah. And I would just say that code.org has some summer professional learning opportunities up in Alaska. So if you're interested, reach out to Cheryl Bobo at Alaska Staff Development Network. She's our main point of contact for our regional partners. So if you're interested in those PL opportunities.
Yes, and Cheryl's also one of our ASTE board members, so definitely reach out to her. I know she'd love to hear from you. All right, we were going to play a game, but we've gone quite a bit. I don't want to take any more of your time, but y'all have been so wonderful. I just believe in all the work that you're doing, and I feel it's such a special honor for you to be a part of our ASTE community. I can't wait to kick off this summer learning series coming up. Thank you to our sponsor, Tech, and Otis for Educators. Thank you to Mad Learn, to code.org, and also ACPE or ACKIS. I get all the letters. Julia, say it. AKCIS. There we go. Thank you to everybody for being a part of this. And happy graduation to everybody. Happy summer break that's coming up. We'll see you very soon. And I'll be emailing all of this as well to our membership. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.